Hello everyone, today we're going to be doing a first round preview of the Calgary Flames against the Dallas Stars. Now, before we start, please make sure to subscribe to my channel if you are new and you want to check out more of my content. I appreciate it a lot. Now, let's get into this playoff rematch preview. So, the Flames and the Stars meet again for the first time since the 2020 qualifying round. The Dallas won, and kind of a surprising run there as they're able to run all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals before losing to the Tampa Bay Lightning. That was in 6, I believe. So, Calgary in that time has found a familiar face to coach them, that being Daryl Sutter, who coached in the early 2000s for them as well, and things have gone well for them with him in charge, especially this season. The team had a great season this year, like I just said, with fifth best record in the league, thanks to a 50-win year with a 111-point season. As for Dallas, they didn't make the playoffs last year, but had a hot second half to the year with a record of 24, 13, and 4 on their way to the playoffs, and they managed to sneak in over the Vegas Golden Knights. So, what storyline/factor should we expect here for this series? Well, a big one of them will be Calgary's top line and whether or not Dallas can shut them down. Let's face it, Calgary's top line has been on a different level this year. The trio of Gaudreau, Lindholm, Tkachuk played nearly 1,000 minutes together on the season, and holy cow, they outscored teams 72-31 for a goals for percentage of 69.9% in that time. Well, not all together, but of course separate, they were able to total 122 goals. That was out of the team total of 291 goals. A lot of those did come together, though, of course, but you look at that, that's 42% of the scoring coming from 3 players, and I don't think it's hard to understand that if Dallas has any hope of winning this series, they're going to have to shut down these 3, especially if they're all playing on the same line, which I'm sure they'll play a lot together in this first round. The problem is Dallas not only has to deal with their offense, but the fact that this team can play a very suffocating defense as well. There is a lot of reasons for that. There's a lot of aspects. A lot of that is Sutter's coaching style, but I think a lot of it too is the talent they have on that blue line, and it makes me miss a certain former Canuck a lot, as there is more than one former Vancouver player that ended up here on Calgary that never should have left, in my opinion. Won't name names, but you know who they are. But also, aside from that, you have to worry about other guys offensively. Mangiapane, who's a threat to score off rebounds, one-timers, and deflections. Dallas, especially with Wedgwood out there, had issues, but of course Wedgwood probably wouldn't be playing in the series. You never know. Crazy things happen in the playoffs. Then there's Dylan Dubé, who gave Dallas a bit of trouble 2 years ago. They were able to win that series, but of course Dylan was able to be a difference maker, and according to multiple people I trust, they wrote that they think he'll be a factor this year as well. Read probably 2 or 3 articles. They think on the forecheck he's going to be a big difference maker, and these are pretty reliable guys that I trust what they're writing, so I'm going to buy into it as well. And you got to throw in another guy like Tyler Toffoli, former Vancouver Canuck, if you don't remember that, and he kind of flies under the radar, and you have the potential for another guy to step up, and Toffoli is a guy that certainly is a player I really respect. For Dallas, though, a lot of their big name players will also be a factor in this series or a storyline here, and unfortunately for them, they're probably going to have to shoulder a lot of the load offensively. A storyline here would be Dallas's lack of scoring depth, as a lot of their offense runs through their top line of Pavelski, Hintz, and Robertson. And while I like all of them, especially Ropa, Hintz, and Robertson, not Robinson, I really do think they have great futures. I also don't think that they're going to have a big chance of winning if your team is going to expect them to score 45% of the goals in this series. Could they? Maybe, but that's probably not the best thing for your team if they have to shoulder all that load. But there are some other guys that could fill up for Dallas. You have the old guys of Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin, who could regain their form. Again, kind of questionable. I would really like to see it, but especially for Seguin. He had, 2 injuries last year that were pretty severe, and he is working back after dealing with a lot of those issues from last season. I don't know if he'll bounce back from those injuries, but he may regress in the coming years, or he might get back to where he was. But in the coming playoffs, the Stars need their beloved star to get back to producing as a top line center again. Another guy that I think is going to have to make a big impact this series is Miro Heiskanen. Miro is amazing, and I know that a lot of people will say this is a down year for him, but I mean, he's a guy that I really do think is going to be special in this league for years to come. A great two-way defenseman, a great playmaker for his teammates, and is great in all 3 zones on the ice. The problem is his teammates haven't been able to score on those playmaking abilities that he's had this year, which means that you get less points from Miro than you'd expect. but I think the point total does not reflect what we've seen from him. He's still a very valuable defenseman and a guy that I think will win at least one, hopefully one Norris in his career, and he's going to be somebody that they're going to say had a quiet year because, of course, the point total is what a lot of people just focus solely on. But again, Dallas is going to have to score more with the possession he has, but I really do think that he's going to be a factor. Now, another thing we're going to have to look at too is a factor is the situation in it. 2 years ago, we'd be looking at Ben Bishop and Anton Khudobin at net, but we know we'll probably see Jake Ottinger. And nothing against Jake, he looks good, very well, could be the long-term future for Dallas in net. But as of right now, he's opposing Jacob Markstrom, and I mean, what can you want me to say? I mean, I've got a Canucks shirt on here. I'm a Canucks fan, and I think that I might be a little biased, but Markstrom is a guy that was able to put a lot of bad Vancouver teams on his back and then do decently well. Now he's on a talented Flames team that's led by Daryl Sutter, and they love to play a very suffocating game and are totally okay with not allowing teams to do the run and gun, and they don't really want to do that as well. They don't want to go back and forth like that, which is always good for your goalies, but I also think a little bias here for me as a Canucks fan. I think that Markstrom's a good goalie, and I think that while he did have a shaky end of the year, had his final 6 games had a sub 900 save percentage, I think he is a guy that's probably going to have the edge in this series. And I really do think that good things could happen for him. We'll have to see. So, having talked about a few things, we are probably going to have to wrap it up, unfortunately, and make a pick, even though this series especially, I think I could have written more about. It's just so tough because you make these 10-minute videos, next thing you know, people are saying these are too long, but then other people say make a 30-minute video. Maybe one day when I'm able to do it full-time, fingers crossed. But I'm going to make my pick now, and then I'll explain it, and then have you make your pick. So, I'm going to be going with the Calgary Flames in 6. This seems like an easy choice, sure. I know a lot of people say, why didn't you pick the Flames to win faster? I think that while the Flames are a very, very good team, Dallas has kind of been in a do-or-die mode now for a while and has that mindset coming into the series. Calgary, they had some points that were do-or-die, but overall they knew they were safe going to the playoffs and haven't had to be in that mindset like Dallas has. They have talent, they do, they really do, and they have some big name players that could perform after underperforming. So I think that's a big thing there. If you even just get some revival from them, they're a scrappy team looking to just play through it and then make a statement. They're not going to roll over and die just because Calgary is this good team that is able to be just good in a lot of different ways, dominate the puck, suffocate you in terms of scoring chances. They are able to be that team, but Dallas is not going to care. They've got some gritty guys of their own, and they just don't care about that. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, Calgary appears to have more reliable depth and plays a game some call boring, I call focused, because they're able to win, and they don't care if it's flashy. They just want to make sure you don't get good looks, and they strike when you mess up. And of course, they are just a team that will be able to get the upper hand against probably a less talented team than Dallas. Dallas is a team that may have a bright future, but Calgary is a team focused on the now, with some important players needing new deals heading into the summer. But now it's time to hear what you would pick, and make sure to comment that down below, who will win and how many games. Let me know, and don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. Check out my channel. Hopefully you subscribe if you are new. Also, don't forget to check out my series previews, my other 7. I'll leave that at the end of this in a playlist you can just click on. Hopefully check that out. So everybody stay safe, have a great night, and you go off hockey all right. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.